Hello, good
Hello.
afternoon, and welcome to this afternoon's panel, The Healthy Food and Beverage Trend in Kuwait. Before that we start with our panel, I would like to welcome our esteemed speakers, and I would give you a few minutes, please, each one of you, to introduce yourselves and to speak a little bit about your projects. Dana?
Hello? Hello? Hi, thank you for all joining us today. My name is Dana Mtawa. I'm here to represent Sadir Farms. We're a quite established farm, but we started recently growing vegetables, and we work with contracts with the restaurants, as we do with a few of our guests here. And I'm also here representing Juices, which is a cleanse company that we own, which does detoxes and healthy lifestyle juices for every day. Dalal?
Hello. Hello. I'm Dalal Tawheed here from Clean Eats. We're a vegan, 100% vegan meal plan delivery service. We deliver non-processed vegan food. We try to use local organic products as much as we can from Sadir, one of our suppliers. We also have a menu on carriage for delivery that's also 100% vegan, plant-based.
Thank you, Dalal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amal?
Okay. My name is Amal Shaheen, and I'm presenting OVO restaurant. OVO is vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian. So we try to emerge the idea of healthy food, but people think healthy food is boring. So we try to prove to them that it's not boring. It's about a matter of ingredient, fresh flavors, and different ethnic cultures and cuisines. And flexitarian, and we called the vegan vegetarian is OVO lovers, flexitarian is OVO friends. So we try to emerge the two concepts together, and and I hope you enjoy it when you come. But definitely the style life of Kuwait has changed, and healthy food is the thing is on. Okay.
Rashid?
أهلين. Rashid Sultan. I run an accelerator here in Kuwait. We invest in food startups, and I'm a customer of all three young ladies here. But we've invested in startups in Kuwait and across the region that also focus on healthy food and beverage. So that's what we do.
So welcome to all of you. I'll introduce myself. My name is Nada Alamuddin, and I'm the moderator of this panel. I am a partner at Odema Consulting Services. We're a Lebanese-based consultancy company specialized in hospitality, retail, and real estate. And we do work in the Middle East and Africa regions. We do create turnkey solutions, as well as we are franchise experts. So welcome to everybody, and let us start this discussion. So my first question for our panel today, what is really a healthy trend? How can we define this? And what are the differences? We would like to know more, starting by me and the audience. What is really the difference between natural, healthy, vegan, gluten-free, lactose-free, flexitarian? So, Dana.
This is actually one of my favorite questions, especially since we're a farm, we get asked this a lot. Everyone assumes since you're growing in the ground and it's coming out naturally, it means it's organic. And to be organic in Kuwait is extremely hard because we don't have an organic body certification. So who's going to tell me that I'm organic? Unless I am buying organic products that are from outside of Kuwait. So for you to be able to say that you're organic in Kuwait, A, is going to be super expensive. B, is going to be super hard for you to be able to get all the vegetables or the meats and the chicken that you need. We can say we are natural by growing, by the meat that we produce and so on, but we cannot say that we are purely going to be organic. When it comes to vegetarian, flexitarian, pescatarian, I'm going to leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, so Dalal, tell us more about the vegan and...
Since our concept is 100% vegan, I can elaborate more on that. So with Clean Eats, we don't use any animal products, no dairy products, not even butter. We don't use honey, even though a lot of people, some vegans consider honey vegan, some people don't, like some vegans consider it non-vegan. We try to not even use honey, just to like make sure that we're 100% vegan. With Clean Eats, other than being vegan, we try to also provide around 90% of our items are gluten-free. So we use other grains rather than wheat. And even with the oats and other grains that could be contaminated, like gluten contamination, we try to like separate these items as well. I think you can elaborate more on the flexitarian.
Actually, the OVO, the concept, it started as vegan vegetarian. And I learned actually from my children and their friends. So I was vegetarian for 13 years, more or less. My son came to me and he said, I'm paleo. I said, what the hell is paleo? Then my daughter, my friend, her daughter comes to me and she said, Auntie, I'm vegan. And then my son comes to me and he said, Mom, if you don't have meat in your place, I'm not coming. So here where I made the research and I found flexitarian, which is semi-vegetarian, that occasionally you eat meat, fish, or chicken. So that was the tagline, which is vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian. And I thought we have 80% of our menu, it's vegan, vegetarian, and 20% is flexitarian. So we have few dishes, and I made sure the choices of the meat, or we have 2 meat, 2 fish, salmon, and 2 chicken. So at least, and the way of style of cooking is the most important thing in OVO.
All right, thank you. Rashid, for you, what is like really a healthy trend in food and beverage? Since you're a consumer to most of the restaurants that those ladies have.
Oh boy. So I said I was a customer of everybody here. I do see a trend in a differentiation between healthy and clean.
Exactly.
Right? Maybe not as you described clean, but I've seen that there's a lot of consumers in Kuwait are leaning towards clean eating, right? What is healthy for me? I'm a diabetic, so healthy for me is anything without sugar, right? That said, healthy technically is anything that isn't processed, right? You can define it however you want to define it. I prefer flexitarian. I don't mind that definition because I like my meat, but otherwise, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So is the healthy F&B value chain, Dana, since you have Sadir Farms, existing in Kuwait from farming to the end consumer?
Definitely. I think we were probably one of the first to start to produce specific things for restaurants. So if Dalal had a concept and she wanted something specific, she can't find it or it's too expensive, she'd come to me and say, Dana, grow this for me. And I'm seeing a lot of restaurants come to us asking very specific things that they use in mass quantities, like a Peruvian restaurant that wanted blue corn, or Baker and Spice wanted horseradish, because it's not something that you find regular. And I think this is the future of Kuwait, where you start to work with your local consumers and your local restaurants to make sure that they have what they need from Kuwait. Why am I spending so much money to bring in these from abroad when I have 8 months of growing season that we can do really well with? And I think the younger generation now with the iPhones and everything, they want to see where their food is coming from. You know, I want to have access to where it's coming from. I actually want to go myself and pick it and, you know, see it and feel it and learn. So this is, to me, is the future, is that now you cannot hide behind the doors of advertising and media and being on the streets. People have access to your kitchens. They want to see what's going on. They want to see who your suppliers are. They want to know all these questions. And I think, you know, with what's happening now, it's going to even be more and more evident that we have to be more clear with them.
Transparent.
Yeah, transparent. Thank you, my smarter cousin. More transparent with who your suppliers are.
So how about you? How are you are you facing challenges really with your business in terms of sourcing?
We do face a lot of challenges with suppliers, especially that because we're vegan, so we have to make sure that there isn't any animal products in many of the ingredients we use. And sometimes there is like a hidden ingredient that does not show very clearly on the label. So before contracting with any supplier, we of course have to go through many examinations. I think also another issue is finding the right supplier with the best price for the best quality ingredients. Since we try to use best quality ingredients with clean eats and oil-free, which makes it a bit difficult because there are some hidden oils sometimes in certain items.
Amal, in your kitchens, do you have somebody who is certified, who is like really going to monitor that you're having the right products which are being like produced?
Yeah, of course. Like I have the chefs as well, and me. I'm into details, so I go into details of the product itself, and I have the chefs and I have an operation manager. Definitely, they do that.
So how much is like the sourcing of the supplies important
It's very important
in a healthy restaurant?
It's not for me. I mean, in a healthy.
Like in a concept that is like flexitarian.
For me, it's high product. For me, quality of the ingredient that we get, like in terms of salt, for example. In the kitchen, we use organic salt because that's a very big factor of flavors in food. So the high quality, the better it is with the fresh. Thanks God, maybe my kitchen is very small, so I don't have a lot of fridges. So everything is very small portions that we have to get. So it's on a daily fresh items. But no, I don't have that much problem with finding the ingredient. The only problem we can find it is that sometimes it can be not available. So you have to find the other substitute to it, and find the other supplier. That's the only thing.
So that's one of the challenges that you face.
Yeah.
The sourcing, like really to
exactly,
find
the sourcing,
the products.
And the consistency of it, that it's not always, they can have it, sometimes not.
And how will you be like deciding that I'm going to be using that for another if there's no certification?
I have to try it. I have to cook the recipe, whatever it is, and then see the flavor because funny enough, for example, we had one of the recipes we're using coconut milk and being on top of the suppliers and materials.
If you look at the healthy food space in Kuwait and how it's picked up steam, at the end of the day, it's at a price point which is slightly more expensive, let's say, than your kind of average restaurant. Reason being is because the supply chain is more expensive, right? If you want quality ingredients and you have to make money, so that's an important thing. And in some of the investments we've made in healthy concepts, they struggle to find consistency in that supply chain across the seasons also, right? So one of our brands needs avocados all year round. How are you going to get consistency in avocados? So we've been talking to farms in Africa that do Latin American avocados, but in Kenya. So you get the American avocado, but out of Kenya. So we've been crossbreeding, trying to work with them on crossbreeding techniques to enable that and get it closer, which means it's also cheaper.
Yes, exactly.
So it is definitely a major kind of determinant for the success of the healthy sector.
Okay. Now, if we go back to the healthy trend, the healthy trend started, it's a global trend now. And when did it really start in Kuwait, you think? So, and is there like really a specificity for this trend in Kuwait? Dalal, if you want to answer this question.
Here, I feel it depends on which trend we're speaking of. If we're like talking about the vegan lifestyle, I do believe since 2016 there was a huge spike internationally with more people adopting a vegan lifestyle. When it comes to gluten-free and other diets or lifestyles, I think they've been around for some time, maybe not as popular. With gluten-free, for years now, people with celiac disease have been consuming like a gluten-free diet. So I can't really pinpoint a date for like all trends. Yeah.
I have a different vision of vegan. Vegan has started, especially in the Middle East cuisine, Levantine, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan. We've always been vegan, and one of the dishes that I present in my kitchen is based from Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, and it has been vegan. But the terminology now, it came up with marketing. For example, you know, like globally, it's going plant-based. So that's the fight for. But in terms of vegan, it has been forever. But we thought like it's old-fashioned. So it's not nice to eat the old-fashioned food. And what I try to do, a lot of dishes from my grandmother and mother and from my friends, their mother friends even, our food, which is burghal, yogurt, all these ingredients, legumes, all these ingredients, fresh vegetables that is in our cuisine. So vegan has been forever, but the terminology has changed. That's the only thing. And just doing it in a modern and fashionable way. That's my way.
When it comes to a strictly vegan diet, which is no animal product whatsoever, a huge population in India, the Jain, they've been consuming this diet for like years and years now. But when it comes to our Middle Eastern food, I feel there is a dairy, which is widely used in the Middle East. In Kuwait, our traditional diet was also heavy with goat milk and lamb meat. So there is like that too.
So how did you get the idea to create, for instance, Ri? And why? And when did that happen?
I can't take credit for Ri. It's actually my partner who decided to start it. He was interning in New York and working with cancer patients. And he realized that after any chemo treatment, they'd have to have these juices that had 0 fibers in them, which allowed them to be able to take in all the nutrients without having that heaviness, where it felt them that they had to, feel sick afterwards. And he started to notice the difference. And he was a heavy chain smoker, quit smoking, got super healthy, lost a lot of weight. And he said he wanted to bring it to Kuwait. So when he brought it to Kuwait, again, we had major issues like everyone else here with the supplies. And it was too expensive for us to continue selling our juices at 60 KD for 3 days. That's when we said, let's start growing and seeing if we can reduce our costs by doing that. But for sure, I think this is the new trend that's going to be happening now. And maybe Rashid can elaborate more also on the increase of diabetes in Kuwait over the past 5 to 10 years. He's worked closely with the diabetic center also, obesity, diabetes, infertility. All of this stuff has increased dramatically, which I think is pushing us to start going healthy.
Thank you for that. So yes, absolutely. Autoimmune diseases in Kuwait have picked up for whatever reason they picked up. So I was diagnosed 2 years ago, type 1 diabetic. So I can't have any of her juices. Even though we've also invested in a juice company in Dubai that does organic pressed juices, similar to Ri, and I can't try their juices. That's why I have a taster at home who tries all their juices and lets me know how it goes. But if I can answer the first question, I think in Kuwait, success becomes success. And I feel, as a consumer, Ovo was a pioneer in the vegan vegetarian, flexitarian food space, and her success enabled others to come out. Even though Sadira's been around for over a decade, right? But that became more, people became more aware that this is A, healthy, be available, right? So a lot of people have been gluten-free, but they have to buy their products from somewhere else and they can't find it available here. So I think now we have a few gluten-free bakeries. Nobody's yet created a gluten-free croissant. If you do, come talk to me. But other than that, we see that trend kind of coming through.
So if we want to look at Kuwait in general, do you consider yourselves that you eat healthy? Like, what is the quality of food in Kuwait? Are you eating, is it below average, average, above average?
Are we talking about in general or within the healthy?
In general.
No, I think in general, fast food still does tremendously well in this market, right? So I think like everywhere else where metropolitan areas, people still eat a lot of junk, right? That said, if you can afford it and you actually care about your lifestyle and your health, people are switching to healthier options. You just have to get used to it. That's the other thing, right? Is you get used to a taste profile. So Kuwaiti cuisine, like we mentioned, is very much comfort food, right?
It's
very heavy,
Yes.
Everybody takes an afternoon nap. So moving away from that, because our lifestyles were that way, right? And our lifestyles are changing. So now you're on the move, you have to run around. People are more, less drivers, more bicycles on the roads. So all these things are changing. So our lifestyle is changing. And I think that's a positive thing.
And I think there is more awareness as well for health. Yes, Amal, you want to add something?
I just wanted to say that in terms of healthy, it's a global thing. So it's not only, sorry. It's a matter of lifestyle, I think, that people, what they want to eat. So if it's healthy, the idea of the misconcept of healthy, people think that it's a diet food and it's boring and there's no flavor in it, you know?
It's fade
A
and
lot
all of that.
of people think, today actually, I have a guest who came and she said, she's a friend of mine, and until now, it's almost 3 years and she hasn't come to the restaurant. And she goes, I don't know, I'm inviting some people and I'm gonna be like a problem for her because it's healthy. So I thought, please come, when you try it, you will change your mind. And she said, and when she left, actually she said, I'll be coming every day. So that's the misconcept of people thinking healthy, it's boring, and there is no flavors, and it's for diet, which is on the contrary. It's a matter of learning how to cook it and how to use it. Cooking without frying, without using the right sugar. I mean, sugar is healthy, but it depends how you're using it and how much you're eating from it. If you're not doing any exercise, it's not healthy then.
Exactly. By the way, for the audience, if you feel like asking or interfering at any point, please do. Yes.
Hi, this is Noura. I just have a question for the ovo thingy there. I wonder why the chia seed pudding is now upon request.
What is it?
The chia seed pudding. We used to have it like daily.
The chia pudding.
Yeah.
The chia pudding, we're keeping it hopefully for breakfast. We're trying to think, so it's a breakfast item. And because it has a very short shelf life, because we do our all almond milk, we do it in-house actually. So that's why we're postponing it to do it later on for breakfast, but I'll do it for you especially.
Please, thank you.
Okay, so if we continue the discussion, we're seeing in so many restaurants like a new section for vegan or for gluten-free or for lactose-free. So why do you think this is happening? In your restaurants, did you start as well like adding a section on your menus?
Even training has changed with employees. We have to teach them what is gluten-free, what is vegan, what is lactose. Like we have our juice shop that has absolutely no milk, and they still call and they say, "Are your almond milk lactose-free? Is your coconut milk lactose-free?" I mean, so even the consumer who's looking for lactose-free doesn't know what they're looking for. It's quite hard to keep up with what each person wants. Once you get into the gluten-free, that's like a whole nother world. You have to have your own kitchens, no cross-contaminations. You have to be careful from everything else that you're doing. So with Upper Crust Pizzeria, we launched a gluten-free pizza. If you're celiac, you can't have it. But if you have slight intolerances, yes, you can have it. Now they're asking us for a vegan pizza. And I'm like, okay, but I'm a pizzeria with cheese. How can I have a vegan pizza? So we did it. We created like the Beat It vegan pizza, which is beetroots and rosemaries and so on. Now I'm getting a comment for a vegan gluten-free pizza. But my gluten-free base has eggs. So I need help with everyone else how to do this now. I can't keep up.
You have the experts here. You need to ask them.
Cauliflower base, maybe.
Yeah. So now I'm listening here, and we're talking about the value chain. We're speaking about some scarcity in the supply at some point. Does that mean that eating healthy is a luxury in Kuwait? How do you really price your items?
I wouldn't consider it a luxury.
Yeah.
But I would say that you'd have to spend more than you would on average. But I wouldn't consider it a luxury. A luxury item for me is something that you would do once a month, right? But you can eat healthy 3 times a week, no issues, right? I don't think there's anybody out there who's going to eat, sorry, not healthy, organic, flexitarian every day, right? Because that price point may be slightly higher. But it doesn't mean that you can cut it out.
But the difference is not as much as we perceive it. I feel that once you use gluten-free or vegan, people automatically associate you with higher price, when in reality, we just allocate a more percentage for our raw ingredients than your standard Italian restaurant. So I don't think it's a luxury at all. Especially with the purchasing power in Kuwait, I feel people are used to at least ordering out, either ordering in or going out to eat around 3-4 times a week minimum. We have some of our clients that order our delivery menu, who order every day for work the exact same meal, the exact same time. For like at least 5 days a week. So I don't believe that it's a luxury.
Amal.
Definitely it's not a luxury. I find that it's a style of life. So it depends if, I mean, you can find, it depends of the kind of ingredient that you're choosing. If it's a salad or if you want just chickpeas. It depends on the item.
So we do not pay more to eat at
Sorry?
your place. So we do not pay more. If I want to, for instance, order a Caesar salad.
I'll tell you what, there's a difference between Caesar salad and kale salad.
Exactly.
Kale comes already expensive.
Yes.
So it depends on the ingredient itself. I mean, with the vegan, it's more expensive because the ingredient, for example, they try to substitute the cheese with nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is expensive. So there is some items, and for
Which
example,
will be more expensive.
Yeah, honey. I cannot use honey. I use maple syrup, or I use agave syrup with it. So it depends on the item that you're using. That's why it's more expensive in terms as vegan. As vegetarian, no, I don't see it more expensive because you're using egg, you're using butter, you're using, like all the regular, but on the quality, the high quality, that will make a big difference with it. And if you want to be healthy, so you want to, that's the lifestyle that you want to have it.
And that would be the return on investment for each one.
Of course.
Yes.
But now that it's globally, this is where it's going with the food. I mean, the other day I was reading, there's a new thing. It's called now vegan. So I don't know if you're aware of it. Vegan, which is paleo and vegan together. Paleo which is completely meat, and there's no grains. It's vegetable. So now they're trying to take the cells from the meat, not to kill the animal, breed it, and make it into patties, whether in meat or chicken or fish, but it's vegan. So they made every day there's a new terminology with the market.
So that might be the new trend to come.
Definitely.
Now, who's the target clientele for healthy food in Kuwait? And isn't it too much of a niche?
Okay, at OVO, this is what I found it very interesting. And I love it when I have from 16 to 20, and when they call me and they said, we're going to bring my mom. So to me, that is the biggest compliment, or I'm going to bring my parents, because that means if they think this is good, that means, and their parents usually is your high person that you want his approval. So I have different generation, because that's what I'm saying. With OVO, we try to bring ethnic food, wholesome food, and put it in a modern way that is appealing. I mean, I'll have a lot of mothers, they come to me and they tell me, my kids, they don't eat salads at home. At OVO, they eat salads. So it depends. That's I don't want to say the trick, but it's the way how you present it, or the way how you mix ingredient, because you have to know who goes with who. You have to mate pair the food, which is the most important thing, I think.
If I'd like to add something, you know, what makes it very difficult for all of us in Kuwait right now is that we are a minority in our own country. So the Kuwaitis in Kuwait are less than any other countries combined. So the people that we're fighting for as clientele is a very small market. Now, from that market, let's go into the healthy market. We just took it down to 5%.
Exactly, that's why it's very niche.
Then let's go into the vegetarian market. That's probably like 0.5%. Now let's go into the vegan market. So, you know, I feel bad for these guys. They have a lot to do to try and find these clients. So the spending power, I think, is very, very high within that target audience.
Yeah.
And if they're able to catch them and get them to keep coming back, that's where the future is of the businesses in Kuwait. But to find new people is going to be very hard.
So I concur with Donna's point, right? But at the same time, I feel like those barriers are falling, right? So we had those barriers 3 years ago, right? Where you wouldn't want to kind of, what's OVO? Oh, it's flexitarian. Oh, I'm not going to try that, right? But once you've broken that barrier, once people have tried now, and mashallah, you can tell by their performance, I need to book a month in advance to get a table now. I got to find out who owns this place. Yeah. But now you see that people are more inclined. And once they become more inclined, I think it becomes more available and more aware, right? So it's no longer about, I need to go to OVO. It's more about, oh, you have these options on your menu? Okay, I'll try it. So that will pick up with time. I wouldn't consider it a niche market, because anybody can eat that food, right? A niche market would be if it's only catered to gluten-free who have celiac. Then yes, I would say it's a niche market. But anybody can eat gluten-free food, right? Mm. So one of the number one pizza delivery in Dubai is gluten-free, right? That doesn't stop non-celiac from eating it.
Dalal, what's your input about that?
I think if the food is delicious and healthy at the same time, people will come back. For example, with our meal plan programs, since we do subscriptions for weight loss and for fitness plans, we've noticed that whenever a new client subscribes to our weight loss meal plans, a week later, either a cousin or a friend would subscribe, even a grandmother once that lost weight. So also when...
But that takes us back that people think that they're going to lose weight.
This is a program that is designed for weight loss. We have a few programs, and one of them is designed specifically for weight loss. So it's kind of similar to RE. Some people who are not vegan would do a week or a month plan just to detox. And they notice a huge difference in the way they feel. They sleep well, their skin clears out, and they also shed a bit of extra weight. So automatically, someone else from the family or the circle of friends would join, and then so on and so forth, which is, I feel, the best marketing we can do, because we don't really need to invest that much into marketing the plan.
And I have to kind of agree with her. So if you look at kind of the last number of years, people were embarrassed to say they were on diets, right? And diet food in Kuwait meant portion control, not healthier food. And now with Clean Eats and others, you have healthier food. It's not about portion control anymore, right? Which means that you're eating better, and that's a good thing.
Okay, now do you have any, are you getting help from like NGOs, public institutions, or what you're doing is just like a personal effort?
From our end, from the farm, we get subsidies. We get subsidized with the water, we get subsidized for every palm tree we have, we get subsidized for every sheep we have with the grains, because they know it would not be possible to encourage farming or to have a farm unless you had all these subsidies. It would be probably 200 KD per sheep if we didn't have the subsidies, of the cost for someone to buy it. So the government is trying to push farms to be able to produce more. Even when I sell a box of vegetables to the chabra as opposed to going to a restaurant, I get a subsidy on the actual box. So from my end, yes, we do have, and unfortunately it's not to our benefit because it makes farmers lazy. So they start to grow what gets the most subsidy, not what the country needs.
And what about you in Clean Eats? Is it just a personal effort?
Yeah, it is just a personal effort. In Kuwait, for small to medium-sized businesses, there are loans that you can apply to with either صندوق أو البنك الصناعي. But these loans are kind of, especially the one with the البنك الصناعي is exactly as applying to get a loan from the bank. So it's
So
just the percentage is kind of the same. Yeah.
Okay.
I have my partner here with me. We're a group of friends, and we did it together.
Okay, now.
And there's no loans from anybody.
Okay, Rashid, I know that in your company you have invested in, you invest already in food startups. And you did invest in 3 brands in UAE. So can you tell us why the interest? And is it just because it's healthy, or what was the reason behind it?
Okay, so we invested in 3 startups in Dubai this year that focus on the healthy segment. One is a healthy alternative to what you get in cereal. So preservative-free, sugar-free cereal. It's called Mix and Muesli. We also invested in an organic juice press company called Organic Juice Press, which is kind of all your vitamins and nutrients in a bottle, kind of like Ree. And then we also invested in a nutritionist app where we have 2 nutritionists who enable you to guide you better with your dietary needs on an app, right? And it also enables you to go to your favorite restaurants and pick the meals that actually cater to your objectives. So that's one part of the question. The second part was...
Why are you doing that? Why the interest? Is it because just it's healthy, or it's just like a business decision?
No. So the decision had nothing to do with the fact that they're in the healthy space. It had to do, the way we decide is based on the team. So we believe in the team, right? And the team execute based on that kind of idea that they had. We only invest in startups that already have revenue. So these startups already had revenue. They weren't idea stage. The other thing that we like is because they're going up against the large players and they're disrupting in their market. So when's the last time you saw a regional cereal company, right? Which is focusing on kids, which is focusing on things that are better for children. So one of the things as a diabetic that I no longer can eat is cereal. It's really not good for you, right? Any cereal. And so these guys have come up with a better way to enable you to have, for me to have breakfast that doesn't, raise my blood sugar to a point where, I've had like 6 coffees. That's why.
Rashid, what about the Egyptian company that hides the vegetables? That's a good one.
Sorry, I forgot about them. So yes, so one of the startups we invested in Egypt, it's called Velicious. What Velicious does is it creates children's food that looks like junk food, but is actually all veggie. So they have chicken nuggets, but it's 100% vegetarian. It's all veggie, so it looks like chicken nuggets. It tastes like chicken nugget, but it's all vegetarian. Same thing with kufta, kebabs.
So
all
what
these.
is it called again?
V-licious, as in very nutritious.
Delicious.
V-licious, yeah. Fantastic company. They're doing extremely well in Egypt. They're, huh? Yes. And they're vegan, yes. So very proud of them. And husband and wife team, and that's why we believe in them, because they did it with their children first.
Yeah, so basically it's like in any business, in food and beverage, passion, passion, passion. We had a panel yesterday, and everybody who was on the panel was agreeing that behind every successful concept, there should be all the components, but most of all, there should be the passion behind as well. So another question for you now. We're speaking a lot about the healthy trend and so on. Do you think that the healthy industry is going to be lasting in Kuwait? Is it like really, is it really just a trend? It's gonna be something like the burgers, like the pizzas, and then in a couple of years it fades away and it dies? Or is it here to last?
I told you earlier, I think it's not a trend. It's a lifestyle change. So for me, it will last. You may see attention move away to something else over the next couple of years. I don't know, right? So for example, we were mentioning these meat alternatives. So in the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas last week, the #1 startup was Impossible Foods that has the protein meat, right? So lab-made meat, and it's supposed to be doing extremely well. So that may come and become a trend here in a couple of years, right? When that price point becomes reasonable for everyone. But this healthy is not a trend. It's a lifestyle change, and it will continue to be here. That's my opinion.
I can see that Amal approves.
Yeah, definitely I approve, because not because it's my business. No, because I believe in the lifestyle, and it's not everybody. I have 2 kids. They don't eat both the same way. So it's a lifestyle of what's your preference, and it depends on your ethnic group as well. And it's a matter of different culture. So it's not just one, ethnic group that they want only the meat, let's say, or flexitarian. So definitely, and healthy. There's always a trend when it comes to ingredient. Every season there's different ingredient. For example, a few years back, sun-dried tomatoes was in every single dish. Now you see kale is in every single dish. So it's in terms of the ingredient, this is where it's, let's say, a trend. A vegan was in a different terminology. It was plant-based, and now it's called vegan. And now it's coming pegan. And now there's a trend of packaged meal that you see because of the fast pace of life. So they're trying to do everything is into packaged meals where you get it at home and you cook it at home. So instead of going to supermarket, now there's a lot of restaurants it's run by robotic. So everything is perfect, sizes, it comes machine.
Portion,
yeah, so it is a different trend. I mean, robotic, maybe that will be the new trend.
Anything to add, Dalal?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that I wouldn't call the vegan lifestyle a trend. And when it comes to vegan or any other dietary lifestyle, I think if you get return when it comes to your health and the way you look here in Kuwait, people will stick with it.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. So it depends on the results. As soon as you see results, I don't think you're going to go back to bad eating habits. Also, people have more awareness now about eating healthier. And not pressuring yourself to only eat healthy, oil-free. Maybe you'll eat fried food once a month or so, or maybe more. But people have more knowledge and awareness about food and ingredients and high-quality ingredients and their effects with your body and your mental and emotional self.
If I can just add something, I believe the junk food era is a trend. And what happened in Kuwait after the war was there was this huge loyalty to American brands because the US obviously was what saved Kuwait. And that's when you saw all these huge brands coming in, all these big fast food chains and everything. And what happened is that we went to an extent where almost Kuwaiti cuisine does not exist anymore, Kuwaiti cuisine restaurants. And now we're doing this turn back again, where, okay, no, we've had enough, we're going to focus on our health, we're going to go back to local, and you can see with yesterday's panel also, all the young local chefs, mashallah alayhim, they're doing really well, opening restaurants everywhere, and the same with everyone here on the panel. So I hope that the trend is this, the fast food is a trend, and this is the future.
Indeed, we do. So, talking about this, my last question will be, how is the growth of your businesses?
I'd like to hear from Rashid some numbers. For us, we used to be a central kitchen, and we actually opened up a store. So obviously that shows you that we're taking it more serious. We invested in it. We're looking at the second location now. So the future for us is definitely, yes, let's
Promising.
expand. Yeah, let's expand. Let's do better. Let's do more.
When it comes to clean eats,
Yes.
when it comes to clean eats, since we're still like a baby startup, we've only been around for a year and 6 months. But throughout this year and a half, we've seen constant growth on a steady slope, which is we're happy. And as well, we are like our forecast is for us to have constant organic growth rather than a spike and then drop. Yeah.
Great. Any future plans, and how is the growth for you, Amal, at OVO?
Thanks God, we're doing extremely well. Branching out is an option, but it's still under study. It's actually it was a baby that was unexpectedly grew so flourishing, and he was already walking on his feet now, OVO. So hopefully what will come next, I really don't know, but we're working on it. Definitely we're working. There is some good news, but we're just, we would like to take our time to make sure that it is strong.
Great. Rashid, we want some figures.
So we have clients who are down 30% in 2018, and we have clients who are up 30% 2018. I think the takeaway is that you have to stay relative. And I mean, not relative, relevant, right, to the consumer. So I've seen fast food companies grow in this market, and I've seen fast food companies fail in this market. As long as you understand the consumer, and the consumer understands what your value proposition is, and that can't stay constant. That has to change over time because tastes change. Your customer profile changes, right? So Emel mentioned, so she's got 20-year-olds bringing their grandparents, right? So in 5-6 years, it's a different generation who will be more aware about pea milk, about insect protein. So hopefully that'll enable kind of a brighter future for this segment of the market.
Great, thank you so much. Anything you would like to add before that we open the floor for questions?
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. I just want to add a point here. If you want to grow the business, the healthy concepts, you have to go mainstream. You can't be catering to obesity and diabetes. That's a medical approach. You have to offer a great tasting food experience. This is what the young people go for. That happens to be healthy. The food has to be a great food experience that is healthy. If you look at the US, in the last 8 years, 10 years, the growing segments are the fast casual, greasy burgers, exciting pizzas, a lot of cheeses. If you want to go and make profits and become a business, you have to go for taste and create a brand that has a taste that happens to be healthy. And I think the Syrian Lebanese culture They do have the ingredients there, but they've never been, it has been spread around in the world, in Canada and America, as an ingredient, but not as brands. They say, oh, this is hummus, or this is the salad like the Lebanese or the Syrian salad, but never a brand. I think there is a chance to take the health trend or the health food and becomes a tasty brand. Like I look at Shake Shack and look at the Five Guys. Five Guys are far from being healthy. If you want to make money and make profits, you have to create a brand that stands for great food experience, not for being a medical approach. Thank you.
When it comes to clean eats, we always, even if a client calls us, we tell them that it's a lifestyle. We never use the word diet because we're not trying to portray it as anything medical. It's a lifestyle rather than a restricted diet. I feel for our businesses to continue growing, the approach is to go seasonal rather than anything else. Then it's easier for us to keep our costs lower while using ingredients from our local farms. And seasonal ingredients, they grow at the time the body needs them, I feel. Yeah.
Any further questions?
Any efforts are being done toward schools, children, education? Because as we know, this is the continuation, and any trends you may probably share with us, mainly schooling.
And it's not something I would want or recommend any child to eat. They come with a budget of 250 fils to 500 fils, and they expect to be able to have a decent meal with that amount. And you just can't. So I hate to say it, but the big brands, the junk food brands, are in our schools, and that's what's being served to them.
My question to Rashid, I think with the success of the healthy food business, do you see there will be some acquisitions happening with this business?
Every market will go through consolidation at some stage, right? So some stage there has to be consolidation, whether that means failure, mergers, acquisitions. I know we heard of a healthier brand that just got bought out a few weeks ago. They haven't announced it yet, but in the Kuwait market, people know. And I think there's going to be more to come, for sure, definitely.
Okay, I'd like to thank you all. Thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you for the audience.
Jeff, you allow me to say on behalf of Horeca Kuwait Leaders Group, Nabil Al-Anjari, General Manager, and Jumana Dammous, coming from Lebanon, founder of Horeca. Thank you very much, the panel, Dana, Dalal, Amin, and Rashid. Thank you very much. And definitely, Nada, you've done an excellent job. Thank you very much. And I would like, on behalf